5 o'clock on the dot, so we can go ahead and call to order. Is there anybody here for the public forum? If so, you can raise your hand and Brian will call you up.
Looks like there's nobody in attendance.
Oh, all right. So we will move on to approval of the January minutes that were sent.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, so been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next we have the annual grant paragraphs. And just to be clear, Brian, like the dollar amounts, were those all cross-checked? I didn't cross-check with the minutes or anything, but
Yes,
okay.
yes, those are all updated for the next year's recommendations. Those dollar amounts won't be, that's not where we grab them anyway for the contracts, so those kind of disappear. That's just for your own reference.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that they're good.
Cool.
And I checked them. They look good
Okay.
compared to the spread. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who edited and made some modifications. We mentioned last time we were changing them up a little bit to be a little more generous and some wiggle room and with our year this year. So
Yeah.
everything looked good. It's always nice to see all the paragraphs on one page, so you can like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we need a motion to approve the paragraphs whenever you're ready.
So moved. All right,
I'll second.
Dan. All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the paragraphs. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And we're 2 minutes into the meeting. Yeah, awesome. Speaking of which, Brian, this wasn't on the agenda, but did you need someone like a representative when these are presented, or is it just in the consent items?
Yes, so these will be presented to the council at the city council meeting on Tuesday, February 9th. That meeting will start at 5 o'clock. And the CODA recommendations will be one of the first items presented. So we do need somebody from CODA to attend that meeting to answer any questions that may come up. Generally, there are not questions, and so it's a pretty easy night. And we should be able to get you out of there within half hour to 45 minutes, depending on how long other items take. So if there's anybody who would be willing to volunteer for that, that would be fantastic. And it's virtual, so.
I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. And you'll send me a link, right, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Next up on the agenda is the calendar for the next year.
This has been updated and just contains sort of the roadmap for the next fiscal year and some of the and a repeat of some of the items towards the end of this fiscal year.
I noticed, let's see, I mean, today is February 1st rather than the 7th, but we're all here, so.
Well, that'll be February 7th of 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay, sorry. I'm still in this fiscal year.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that looked like it needed changing. I mean, it'll look good to me, so I would move to approve that if we need to.
I'll second that if I can.
Sure.
Well, Steve wanted to.
No, that's fine. I just checked there's no conflict with Jewish religious holidays or anything like that, so it looks fine to me.
Great. All those in favor of approving the calendar, please say aye.
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 I
Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. Brian, do you want to talk about number 6 and why we're not doing it?
Yeah, I didn't mean for this to be like a trick item on the agenda, so I apologize. But normally this is when we would approve any fall 2020 special project grant final reports. However, all 4 of the special project grants for that period were delayed in some fashion through amendments that you recommended and the council subsequently approved. So once those contracts actually do end, we will simply, I think it makes sense to just take each contract back to CODA at the same time as the next batch of final reports. So I think some of the contracts we set up to end now in 6 months, and some of them got extended by 12 months. And so just whenever they end, we'll get the final reports to the commission at the next opportunity. Okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So next we have, speaking of special projects, we have application forms and instructions to approve.
Yes, so several years ago, we made changes to the special project grant documents so that they're much more generic. So, for example, the application is not specific to any particular year or spring or fall. The final report form is the same situation. The only one that contains specific dates is the instructions document. And so the dates that have been plugged in on that first page should match the calendar that you just approved 2 items ago.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, we've tried to do as much as we can to make the approval process here really plug and play, so we don't have very much to update.
All right. Did anybody see anything that jumps out at you?
nope.
Nope, looks good to me.
Looks pretty
There's
standard.
nothing we need to include for COVID-specific language at this point.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, that's been difficult with these last couple of contracts. I think it will be wise when the applications come in to consider how the projects may be impacted by COVID. You know, I certainly don't think that 6 months ago, when the commission was reviewing last year's fall or this coming spring's contracts, that we thought, oh boy, we need to really think about how we're going to be impacted by the pandemic. And again, for the past fall period as well. And so I think just as you do your review for these in April and May, just consider what kind of project is being proposed, and if it's dependent on a lot of people getting together physically, then we're going to think real hard about that and how that will work.
Do we want to give the organizations a heads up that we'll be looking for that?
Yeah, that's up to you. That's a good question. You can certainly put a note in there if you have some suggestions.
Or would it be mentioned in the workshop, or both places? Or
Oh, that's a good point. The workshop would be a good place to indicate that.
since that's
It couldn't
mandatory.
hurt to have just 2 or 3 sentences of a guideline so that there's something in print for us to fall back on if and when one of our decisions becomes a little difficult.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks like it would be maybe under the requirements, an additional sentence or two in the requirements section, maybe.
Or it could even be its own heading, special for spring.
Yeah,
It's not a bad idea. Just
yeah.
put its own heading and make that really clear.
That's what we have to do in our syllabuses.
Oh.
We don't want it to be sound too severe or restricting. Just make sure they're conscious of this being an issue
So
for
maybe
the spring season.
Sure. Maybe it's something like organizations should consider how their project can move forward in the event that COVID restrictions remain in place.
Perfect.
Something like that.
Perfect,
Yeah, yeah.
perfect.
Somebody write that down. And hopefully we only need that once.
Mm.
Okay. So perhaps there could be a motion to approve with that addition.
I'll move to approve with the, what is it, friendly amendment? Is that what we call it?
I'll
Give it a
second.
second. Steve? All right. It's been moved and seconded to approve the the application form, the final report form, and the grant instructions printed literature with the addition of that we just talked about. All those in favor can say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries as well. All right, so moving on to the calendar. As we mentioned, Deanne's going to attend the February 9th City Council meeting virtually. As is tradition, there is no March CODA meeting. And so the next meeting will be on April 5th. And just, I think everybody's aware, but I was actually ending my appointment a year early to work on another endeavor. So this will be my last meeting on this side with y'all, but hopefully I'll be there to to be in some public forums here soon. So,
But
Yeah,
you did a
I-
great job running this meeting. It's a shame.
yeah.
Yes, you did. And I guess that I would say as well, I am not renewing my contract due to some conflicts with my new position at Iowa State. So very glad that I will be in this new role, but I do have some recurring meetings that take place during our regular CODA stuff. So I won't be able to continue with that, but the past 3 years have been awesome. So appreciate everybody.
Wow.
Thank you. Sorry.
You
Yeah.
and me, Deanne. Well, thank you both. It's been a very instructive couple of months that I've had the pleasure of overlapping with you.
You guys as well. It's been great. We had some, the whole having Jennifer here once or twice over the past year and a half. I think Ames is on a good trajectory, and I'm not too familiar with everything that's being proposed downtown. I kind of stayed out of that lately, but it sounds interesting if they can get it going. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting few years, definitely. So, all right.
One other item I wanted to bring your attention to. You might recall a couple of months ago, Tom worked with the Public Art Commission about a $10,000 small art grant proposal. The council had set aside 10 grand for small arts grants. The City Council has provided some further direction about what they would like to do with that money. And part of their direction is for Public Art Commission and for CODA to get together to work on that, or at least for representatives from each commission. Public Art Commission sort of had its hands deeper into this project, and they meet on Wednesday. So I think we'll see what they have to say on Wednesday, and then I'll bring that back to you once they've put together some of the materials. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering about that as well. So,
yeah. All right.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody. Brian, Deanne, Steve, Troy, it's been great being able to serve on the commission with you. And I'm sure I will definitely keep in touch with folks and with what's going on in the arts community in Ames. So not going anywhere, just won't be on the commission anymore. So, right, take care.
Hopefully we'll see you at some in-person events at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once those are back, I'll be there for sure.
Terrific.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.